Hello. Today we're going to introduce a new content update that's coming to Arms Trade Tycoon tanks. And I have Fraser with me from MicroProse. Fraser, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. My voice will be all over the place today because I've either got one or two things. One, a flu, which probably more like it, or two, I've got COVID, so isolating myself here in my own office, so it's either one or the other, but I feel dreadful today, so it should be good.
Sounds awesome. Exactly the best opportunity and the best time to do some recordings, I think.
Exactly, and you're going to be showing me a load of new stuff today for Arms Trade Tycoon tanks.
Exactly.
Some of the new cool features, so let the show begin.
Let the show begin. So this upcoming update is all about the interwar era of the tanks, and I think we can start by actually looking what are the tanks being introduced to the game. So as you can see now, I'm going to the workshop mode. This is a separate game mode that allows us to look and play with the different designs without actually going to the Tycoon mode. You can see that all of those buttons are grayed out, you see zeros and so on. But we can actually already access the tanks, we can design them here, we can prepare for the Tycoon game upcoming, we can test drive them and do all kind of cool stuff. So all in all, we have introduced roughly double the amount of tanks in the game. So we introduced 10 plus tanks to the game.
Sweet.
And it's not just the British tanks, but it's also the German tanks and the French tanks. Well, it was not really easy to select which exactly tanks to add to the game, because there's really so many different cool things, so different cool ideas from different countries. So what we had to think about, we had to try to pick up those tanks that, well, they're both iconic for its age, but they're also, they have a kind of good amount of compatibility with the tanks, both from, well, the interwar and the World War I era, but also in between each other. I mean, for example, this one, as you can see, the base of this tank, that's actually the Char B1 tank. Mm-hmm. That's the French one. But you see what we did with this, right? We put the running gear from the Brits, the rhomboidal ones. We put some sponsons there. We put actually the French turret. And there we have something that looks very much like the Indiana Jones, the Hatay tank, if you remember that.
Oh, yeah, my favourite bit, and that's a cool bit in the movie. I love Indiana Jones. Most people don't, for some unknown reason.
Well, we like Indiana Jones as much, as you can see by this tank, right? Mm-hmm. And that was actually requested. I remember some people were asking us, well, will we ever be able to build a tank like that? And, well, now you can. So there we have, you can create different type of machines, let your imagination go wild, basically. And it's... what should I say? It's not, only the classical ones, because the interwar era, it's still a lot about experimenting, right? It's about finding that right ratio between the mobility, the firepower, the protection, and one of the key features of the interwar was actually to have the tanks with the multiple turrets. And in the game, well, you can actually test it out. You see the tanks, you can have a classical composition like a single turret, or you can have tanks with the multi-turrets and, have fun. So, in the workshop, you can play around, you can see some new additions to the UI. The most importantly is that we have revisited these items, the series, so each tank belongs to its own series, as you can see. It has, much better look now, I would say. You can filter those by the different era, you can filter those by countries, and you can also filter those by different other attributes like the weight, the potential money cost, attribute sum, and so on.
Yeah, because all those things, I was going to say, because all those things like with the weight and what you actually do with the tank, equates to more cost on the tank, so therefore bigger profits if people buy it.
Exactly. So it's not about just plugging, the best components into the hull, but it's also thinking about the production cost, the resources, and so on and so forth. So also here we have introduced some additional features. There was some players, they noticed there was sort of an exploit with the engines. One could have plugged in any kind of engine into the tank, a small and a big, and it didn't really matter in terms of the attributes that this engine was giving to the whole tank. So it didn't really consider what is the actual weight of the complete vehicle. Now that has been taken care of. So each engine has sort of an emulation of the power to weight ratio, and if the engine is is built for a small tank, well, it will be reflected here, and the attributes, what this engine is providing this tank with, it will be penalized. So you have to watch out for this. You can see this is now we're plugging a bigger engine, right? It takes more, it's heavier, it takes more weight, but at the same time, well, it can bear this mass with ease.
Yeah, I thought you were going to get really overly complicated then, because I was thinking, I am now struggling. Okay, because I don't know enough about engineering to succeed in this conversation.
No. I mean, it's actually a challenge. You can always, try to sort of mimic the reality, right? And try to make it as close as possible. But there is a compromise. You have to draw a line and make it still user-friendly and make it fun. So that's what we try to do. So the new UI, that's that, hopefully. There you go.
I love that. I love the sounds to it as well. The explosions are amazing. It was worth that moment of silence there where we both didn't talk over it, so everyone can appreciate the sound of the engine and the explosions.
Well, I mean, I can just tell you that the sounds of that, we have to, we know what to do, and there will be more unique sounds both to the engines, but also to the weapons.
So how hard has it been? I was going to say, how hard has it been incorporating all of those tanks, and considering the feedback that you've been getting from players as well? So you're trying to keep both sides happy.
Well, I won't lie, it's kind of challenging because, one of the major things that players wanted to have as soon as possible was to have a new content, right? And building those tanks, it takes both time, but it's also, of course, we needed to fix the different bugs and all the kind of issues. We had to not forget the quality of life. All of those folding, unfolding, sorting, and filtering stuff. It's also it's a lot of thinking and planning. And the tanks, I would say one of the issues with the tanks, not the issues, but things that takes time, is that kind of compatibility between the different models, right? Because that means it's not like you're not basically making a single tank, but you're making a tank as a Lego that can also fit in another tank and in another tank, and it takes time. But at the end of the day, we have tanks that we can create tanks that they never been really created. They combine technologies of 3 countries. They combine 2 different eras, and you can build something that, let's say, will look very much like Tog tank or this Hatay tank and so on. So really, really funny combinations. So I think it was worth it, and I hope the players will also enjoy that freedom.
We've mentioned it already once, but there is a cost implication to doing this in the actual game itself, because you are melding different components onto a tank from other nations, and at the end of the day, that costs metal, it costs resources, it costs man hours. So you need to make sure whatever you build, you take into consideration the profit motive at the end. So it's all well and good building the craziest tank on the planet if you make no money from it.
you have to think about this. And I mean, if you actually play the game in the Tycoon mode and you have like a contract, you have to think about which tank is better to offer. Should you offer the one that maybe will score the best in terms of the what we call success score? That's how attractive the tank is for the customer. Or maybe you should actually try with a tank that, well, it will not score tops, but it will give you the best profit. So the difference between what the company is willing, the country is willing to pay, and how much it costs to make the tank is maximum. So you have to take that in consideration, of course.
So besides adding loads of tanks, what else is new to the game?
Well, maybe we can actually go and check it out, right?
Yes, please.
Yes, let's leave the workshop and start a new game. So we go for a new game, and here you can see some change. So what the biggest change here is you can actually jumpstart the game directly from the interwar period. That is done for all those players that have been with us for quite some time, that have played the game. They really want to experience something new, but they don't want to start from scratch again. I would recommend jump starting the game for the new players, for the newcomers, because we have some tutorial elements, but there is still not a full kind of tutorial. We're working on that. But for the experienced players, I think this can be an interesting start. And you start off in the interwar. That means that you have a bit more cash. You have already unlocked all the technologies of the World War I. The game start date is not 1914 as before, but it becomes 1921. And then your factory ground, it changed a bit the look, but most importantly that you can actually do more things in your factory. All of the building, they have now 2 what we call process lines. So you can, in parallel, let's say you can unlock 2 research technologies, you can do 2 designs, you can produce 2 different type of tanks in the production hall and so on. And you also are given a number of the preset tank designs that can be quite handy in sort of securing your financial well-being in the beginning of the game. And And yeah, the game extends to still going up to 1934, but the countries in the world, they will be also shifting from the World War I to the Interwar. And that means, well, they will be demanding a better tanks, right? They will be building up the arms forces with the new weapons. So new challenges, basically. New challenges and new things to discover.
Okay, so before we proceed, is this the easy entry into the game? So you've got the main one where you have to build the bases up, you have very limited resources, and that's the hardcore version. And then you've got this jumpstart version. Am I correct in this?
Yeah, I mean, the difficulty level, you can always select the difficulty level. I mean, we are still playing on the medium difficulty level, but I jump-started, so you can see I am in 1921, for example. You see that I have more cash. If I look at the buildings, you can also see that, well, actually, the buildings now of second tier, and there you can see, so it's a second tier building. You have some facilities that are already built, and they're providing you the bonus. And you even have some administrators, these unique characters that are giving you some additional bonuses to different activities in the buildings. So it's like, it's like an emulating the situation. Like if you would have truly played the game from the very beginning, from 1914 to 1921, what would you have accumulated? That's what
I see. Oh, cool. That's neat.
Yeah. So it's something that the players have asked us actually to do. So we thought, well, let's try to do our best to do that. And I mean, along the line, you can also see there's some, quality of life changes. They're kind of spread all over the game. So small things, but they still do matter. Let's say here now you can just hover the mouse over the administrator. You can see what bonuses it's giving. You can do the same for the facilities, see the bonuses. Before that, that's unfortunately I had to, click and look. If you want to, say, upgrade this facility to a new tier, well, you go there, click upgrade, and you can see the upgrades, where you are, what you can do. So these changes, there are quite a few of those in the game. Mm-hmm. But I think the most important thing and the most interesting for the players, of course, is the tanks. And for that, let's go to the research lab.
Because that's why that's why this game is called Arms Trade Tycoon Tanks.
Exactly.
That was the worst joke ever, wasn't it?
Okay. So, and as you can see, we have, now I have a bit different layout of this window. So you have a tier 1 and tier 2. That's for the Great War. This is for the Interwar. And since we jump-started the game from the Interwar, all of these nodes for tier 1, they're already sort of unlocked to you. But let's look what's available. I mean, just let's see how much new stuff is there. So we go to tier 2, and there you go. So there's a lot of things to look at.
Sweet.
So there's a lot of new components, there's a lot of hulls, turrets, guns, machine guns, engines, and so on to play with, to, expand your portfolio, and, really combine a lot of, create all those different combinations. And another new thing, as I said, I mean, now you can sort of run two processes in the parallel. So let's say we want to start this hull, have it rolling, and you can actually do another research. And there you go. You have two processes running there. It will take some time, but we can fix that. So that's one of the actually most demanded features that many players wanted. They wanted to expand quicker, right? They wanted to do more stuff at the same time. Mm-hmm. And that's what is available now. So you can, in most of the buildings, you can do two processes, produce more tanks, do more research, do more designs, and so on.
I was going to say, that sounds like multitasking. Oh, you don't want to go there.
yeah, it's a bit like multitasking. And then you can also see that the world has changed to some extent, so it's not the same sort of conditions that it was in the war, in the World War One. The countries have, they have been sort of developing up to 1921, so the borders look a bit different. And so that's the start of the game. That's where you have to pick up. You have more funds, as you can see there, but you have also quite a lot of expenses now. Let's say because we have built up your facilities, so the maintenance is one of the things. And also, as I mentioned in the beginning, we supply the player with some startup designs. You can see those there, right? And these ones should allow the player to get through the initial period, right? To get some new technologies, create some interwar tanks, and without going bankrupt.
That's important.
Yeah, and bankruptcy actually, it's another thing that, it can happen quite a lot if you don't really know what you're doing. So before we had this introduced a new feature. It was called, the loan. So there you have. You can get a new loan still, but it's also, as some of the players they noted, it was very easy to get in the sort of trap mode. Basically, you take the loan, and then you realize, let's say, the conditions of the loan maybe were good enough for you. You took too little money, you need more, or maybe the payoff period is too little or too short. So now you can actually expand that, and you do that for a certain fee. So you cannot just spawn this because you'll still be paying something, but you can adjust the loan conditions as the game goes, and that should be also pretty handy. So you see, I took the loan straight away, the maximum loan. Yes, I took it maximum, and this is actually what I would recommend for most of the players who still want to jumpstart from the interwar. You have a bit more freedom. Yes, you are paying. Yeah, you can see that you have a loan there. You'll be getting the bank fee expenses. But you have more cash. You have more cash to build up.
But you were sorry, you made the first version sound like you were dealing with a loan shark, though.
Come again?
You made the first version sound like you were dealing with a loan shark, the way you were operating the bank system then.
Well, it's just more flexible. It's more flexible for you to adjust it. Let's put it like this. You can still, there is a limit of how much cash you can take.
Yep.
Of course, you cannot just take it, in this case, I think it's 500,000 that you can take. Yeah, it's 500,000, you can see there in green. But you can still adjust, let's say, the payoff period. So if you have, if you have a hard time paying off the loan at the given rate, you can extend it, and you will pay less per month, but in total you will pay more. Right, or you can even pay it off if you have the cash available. Right. So, and then this is the start. So you have stockpiled quite a lot of resources. You have the money. You have some initial designs. You have enough employees to get started. With the administrators, the researchers, and the workers. We already have something going on in the research lab. And then what are the first steps to go? Well, when I usually go, I do go to the administration buildings, because this building provides us the bonuses that applies to the complete factory grounds. And since we are currently focused on sort of expanding, building or upgrading the facilities for the other buildings, what we can do, we can actually build up these two facilities. They're extra handy because they will reduce the speed and the cost of building the other facilities. This is something handy. We can then demolish them when we are done with this. We also have to check where the money goes. You see that most of the money currently goes for the building maintenance, right?
Yep.
Not good. So Administration offers us a specific facility for that as well. You see that this gets upgraded, we get an additional 8% discount on all maintenance. We go for this, and we can also check, I think this building, it provides you a combo. It gives you a bonus on the maintenance, and also it reduces the bank rate. So we pay less in bank rate, which is good. So we can do that. Fire is also good. And you see that I'm sort of shopping it free because I took the loan, right?
Oh yeah, because you got loads of cash.
Yeah, I have loads of cash. You see that my facility construction went up quite a lot, 270k straight away. But we can do that for the time being. So hopefully we get some new contracts and we can pay it off. Now, we can either go now and start building other facilities in other buildings. We can do that. Or we can wait while this facilities in administration will be finished. So we get a small boost. So this is only 17 days to wait. I think we can live up with that. In the meantime, things are happening. So this one, for example, is telling us that France has shifted to the interwar era as well. And as I said before, that means that they will be asking for more advanced tanks. They will be equipping their military with a more advanced weaponry, meaning that if your tanks will face those units in the field, there goes the Britain as well. Then they will have a more tough challenge, and you will have to you'll have a hard time on sort of getting a good tank fame on that. So those two facilities are built. We can see that we have a certain reduction in the building maintenance as well. Good. Hopefully the buildings cost us less. One can also accept it. And another important advancement to upgrade that one can do is actually prepare for the mass production. Because if things go well, the contracts are going to come. Mm-hmm. We need to prepare for that. And how we can do it? Well, here you can see we have 2 assembly lines, which is great. And there's only 400 workers that we can assign for those. We have a specific facility that adds on top of that another 100. So let's upgrade that. We go for that. Good. And we can also just take another facility called sub-assembly. It gives us a bonus, just a general bonus for the effectiveness of the workers. So currently we have it there at 23%. Upgrade that. Good to go. Okay. And another thing that one can start planning, one can ask yourself, is this too long time to wait for the new technologies to arrive? If we think so, then we can do pretty much the same thing. I mean, we can try to boost how many engineers per line we can have. So that's called ergonomics office. That's same name for facility. That's doing pretty much the same. But we can also look in specific sort of research focus. If this is hulls, turrets we want to focus, so we want to focus on the firepower, the components, etc. I don't think I need to go in each of these specifically now, but believe me, if you want to have things rolling quick, you have to expand, but you should not overexpand, because the cash goes away very quickly. Already now we have spent $500,000, right, for just the construction works.
Actually, I've got a question. If you upgrade the building, and you've got a whole new building being built, can you off-sell the resources of the old building that you had to make extra profit from them, or is it just the actual overall building is improved as you spend the money?
Well, it's more like an overall building is improved.
Okay.
You do not get some sort of free cash. Sorry, no.
I was hoping for free cash then.
Nope. Sorry, no free cash. You can actually scrap your tanks, but that's hardly free cash because, you have already built those tanks, right, and produced them, but you will get some resources back. Anyway, so you can see now first contract is there, and this is another quality of life, small but yet useful, hopefully, quality of life change. You can, instead of navigating where this contract is, you can just click on this little button and you directly end up in your contract center, right? So you can see the contract, you can see what type of tank the country is willing to pay for. You see some numbers there and some names. So this is what is important for this particular tank. In this case, they want to have, they want to focus on protection. They want to focus on reliability and the firepower, the soft firepower. You can see the price they're willing to start bargaining from, the number, the deadlines, and so on, and the attribute. Mm-hmm. This silhouette kind of gives you a hint on what type of tank they're willing to see. So if we go there, of course we don't have any French tank at the moment. We only have the preset British tanks. We can see how good we're doing, and actually, lucky for us, we have this tank that's based on Mark 1 Fusilier tank, and it's doing pretty well. It has. We don't know if this is enough or not.
Yeah.
For that, we need to look at the competitor. There we have some competitor tanks. If we are ready to pay a little cash, 43,000, we can see more exactly. We can get the insight. So we know these two numbers, they're basically telling us that the success score of this particular tank, how appealing it is to the customer, is within this range, 220 to 282. Our one is 465.
Yes.
It's marked with the green, meaning that we are good. And what do you do with this? Well, you can either go and try to get more cash, but you see when we increase the cost, we increase the price, the attractiveness falls, right? Which is something to expect. So there we have to ask ourselves, okay, look, this tank will cost us about 700,000 to produce.
Yep.
But they are not willing to pay that much. You see?
Oh, then
if I put 70,000,
yeah.
If I
Hello? Your audio's gone. I think it crashed.
Well, what's the point, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's not just creating the tank, but it's also making money out of that. So we can try to see, okay, look, this tank, it actually fits even better. Yes, it's not of the exact French design, but it's probably, if we look there, you see it does quite well with those 2 out of 3 key groups, attribute groups that it wants. It's good, it's reliable, and it has pretty good values in the firepower, so in the machine guns. So 782, but the most important for us, this one costs only 8,000 to produce. So this is good. We'll be doing money. Let's ramp it up to the maximum. 90,000, good.
Yep.
We are still above with the competitor. We can actually make it a bit easier for us because this is a deadline. So currently it's 2nd of February. They want it in May. Let's see, if we ramp it up to June, we are still good. We are still above the competitor. What should we do? Now, we can of course send the contract straight away. And most likely, we will actually get it. But then we will have a revenue of 860,000, right? So it's roughly 400,000 that will be the profit. So that's directly the cash in. Or we can gamble. We can try to ramp up how many tanks we're promising to them. And you see that the revenues goes up directly.
Yeah, but so does the risk factor. Because if you don't...
Yeah, so there's a risk factor. I was sure that we actually can produce a whopping 68 tanks in the given time. We have like roughly 3.5 months.
Yeah.
We can try to gamble. Why? Well, because the game now also features like a cancellation and the delay mechanics. It means that you can always cancel the contract. You are not, it's not pay, win or die. You can cancel it for a certain fee, and you can also delay their delivery. Maximum delay is 30 days. The delay will come at also fee that will be sort of increasing as you proceed, but it is possible. So let's be bold. Let's send this offer, and we can, of course, we can wait for the answer.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that will be just fine.
Actually, I've got to say, I do like the new updates, by the way, besides the crazy tanks that you can build. That's excellent. So thanks for your time, man. Again, as always, I'll speak to you again in a few weeks' time, yeah? When you start bringing out some more updates.
Thanks a lot, Fraser. Thanks, appreciate that.
That's okay, man.
Thank you.